Okay, it's factoring. Well, we call it shortcut. It's not really a shortcut. It's just another style of factoring. The most common one is kind of like by decomposing this. You need two values multiplied by a, blah, blah, blah. This is another style. Instead of doing that, we find the factors of the very first term. So all possible factors of 6. Well, we have 1 and 6 and 2 and 3. And you can kind of separate them. You can write them like that. I'm going to visually separate them into little columns because we're going to work with them as columns. Okay. Then we do the exact same thing with the last terms, 15. Well, factors of 15 are 1 and 15 and 3 and 5. Same idea again. You can just leave them like that, but I'm going to visually separate them because sometimes it gets a little confusing. So these columns set up because we're either going to work with this pair and this pair, this pair column or this column for the first terms in each bracket, or this column and this column for the second terms in each. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to find products. So in other words, I got to take this column and maybe multiply it by these two, and their products are going to add up to our middle term, which is our negative x. So this is kind of like the whole setup, and we'll go through this process. So we kind of do trial and error here. 1 times 1, 6 times 15, that's going to be like 90, I think. So 90 and 1, do they, anyway, if one's a negative, one's a positive, add up to negative 1? Not even possible. Now I've written x here. Really, I should write it as negative 1. But the true thing here is I should put it, it is negative 1x, which means I could have broken these into like x's also, 1x times 6x, 2x times 3x, because it's technically x times x that makes that square, but we're just focusing on the values, okay? Sorry, I was a tangent. So I know I tried this, now let's try across. 6 and 15. So this gives us 15, 6, neither work. So this column is a dud. It doesn't help us. So we already know we're working with this column, just in what capacity? How are we using it? Let's try it again. 2 times 1, 3 times 15. That's 45 and 2. That's not going to work. 3 times 1, 2 times 15. That's going to be 30 and 3. No set of that works. So what we've now just figured out is this column, for our second ones, doesn't work. So we're clearly working with these values, just how. And the how is actually really important. So 2 times 3 and 3 times 5. That's going to give us 6 and 15. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's not going to work. So let's try across. 2 times 5 is 10. 3 times 3 is 9. Ah, yes. We can figure out some combination of those two that'll work. Unfortunately, it's the last one we tried. But okay, so I'm going to put these permanent lines here. I know I need the value of 10 and 9. And I need them to add up to negative 1, which means I need the 10 to be negative, right? Yeah. In order for that to work. And how did I multiply 10? Well, I did 2x times that 5. Well, that means this 5 would need to be negative. And as a check, negative 5 times positive 3, negative 15. Great, it checks out. So now what we do is we just set up our brackets. One bracket and the other. So these guys here are going to be the first terms. I can set them up any way I like to start. Say 3x and 2x. Now the way we put these second terms in is we don't put them in the same bracket that they were multiplied by. So what I mean by that, 3x was multiplied by 3. That means the 3 cannot go into this bracket. It has to go into the opposite bracket of the 3x. So positive 3 would go into this bracket as the second term. And then by deduction, but let's still use the rule, 2x times negative 5. Okay, 2x cannot go, or sorry, negative 5 cannot go in the same bracket as 2x. So I put the negative 5 in the other bracket. Okay. And you're factored. That's it. Now I did like a whole visual part to this, but when you get good at it, you're really looking, you'll figure out the columns quickly and just write them in. That's all there really is to that. So it can become a shortcut after you practice it over and over.